How's it going? Welcome to the live stream. Hope you're having a great day. Woo, man. Been running around, chasing my tail all day. Been quite the week for me. Hope everyone out there is doing good and, yeah. Woo. Hey, what's up, Chip? I think Heath from Shepherd's Forge is here. He just... At 2:58, he texts me, is the live stream going straight? It's like, yes! But I'm trying to figure it out. Chip, nice haircut. I know, right? And the problem is, the light's hitting it right here, so it looks like I got a big old bald spot. Or wait, it's on this side. I'm dyslexic. Looks like this whole thing is bald. But it's not. There's Heath. I thought, man... At 2:58, you text me, you message me, are you going live? I'm like, I'm going live, but I'm trying to do 3 things at once. Oh, man. Whew, what a week, what a week. I'll be honest, though. As of yesterday morning, I only had 2 subjects, and one was the reader grinder, so it was like, man. I had to go back, because I always put notes up for each live stream, but I had to go back through like my old stuff and be like, oh, do I want to talk about this again? And do I want to talk about this? And so I came up with a few more things. And then as yesterday progressed, I started thinking about all these other things I wanted to talk about. And it's like, oh, I guess I don't need the old topics. So, yeah. Anyway, I have been, man, that reader grinder kicked my butt. And it's funny because, Heath, here's a short joke because you're always joking about being short. I had to put a 4-inch riser under my reader grinder so I could reach the 14-inch wheel. I had to stand up on a platform. It's like, oh. I'm just, me and Heath always joke back and forth, so I am being mean, but he knows I'm just kidding, you know. I'll tell you one thing. Out of all the guys that are here, Chip, I appreciate Chip more than anyone, but Heath to me is like a brother, so, but, yeah, so, and I don't call many people brother, but Heath is one because, man, he's listened to some of my crap, and we've gone back and forth and worked things out together, and, man, when you have someone like that, it means a lot, but we go way back, too. I mean, Heath actually subscribed to me when I had, like, I think it was like 350 subscribers, so man, he stuck along the whole way, so he's seen a lot of bad videos. Scott L, hey, how's it going? I don't think I've seen you around these parts, so welcome if you're new. If my memory's forgetting, I'm sorry, but yeah, welcome to the live stream. Right on. Whew. Chip says that was an intense video. Yeah, Chip, you even pointed out I cussed more in that video than probably all my other videos put together. See, on the live stream, I can't cuss as much because I don't have a little bleep. But when I'm editing videos, I can put the bleep in. So I'm trying to just, I am concerned about kids watching my show, so I don't try to cuss. I try to make an effort not to cuss. Like I said before, I don't want a mother walking by while their kid's watching my videos on how to make a knife and being like, you can't watch that anymore. It's bad content. So I try to keep the cussing to a minimum, but yeah, man, fighting that grinder brought it out in me. And then my bad haircut put me in a real bad mood. But the more I've been making these videos, the more I learn, the less I hide who my personality and stuff, the more of a connection people seem to make to it. So, when you start out making videos, you watch all these videos and you watch all this on how to be a YouTuber and you try to do all this stuff correctly. But then as you go on, you realize, man, you just have to be yourself and drop the facade. Nick Riggy, hey, what's going on? Oh, Scott L, Facebook buddy. Right on, right on. I appreciate that. Yeah, I got a lot of people over at Facebook that, man, it's funny because actually one of my topics is like a new social media platform, and I was on it, Discord, you know, and I built computers for years and years, but I don't like gaming. I've never been a gamer or anything like that. So I know about Discord, but I always thought Discord was just like Twitch, you know, like Twitch is a gaming platform where, you know, all the top gamers go and do their Twitch live things. I think Alex Steele did live streams from there for like maybe 4 or 5 months and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mostly gamer related. So I thought Discord was like Twitch, which Discord is. It's you know, I'd say 90% gamers. But this guy invited me to go over and check out this knife forum. Oh, I don't have it now, but yeah, it's some knife forum, and he invited me on there. And I was like, man, I don't know anything about Discord. And it basically, it's just, you know, you can put videos, you can write text and write, you know, it's basically just a forum where people, you know, talk about their ideas and talk about what's going on and knife related stuff and all that. But I had to laugh because, you know, I went on there and I'm like a deer in the headlight. I don't know anything about this platform. I'm completely lost. And I wrote one comment and someone's like, is that the Dave Evader? You know, like, you know, and he even like highlighted the Dave Evader, which is funny because Heath is the one that started calling me Dave Evader. So it's like, man, it's like, that's Mr. Evader to you. I was joking with Heath about this last night. But yeah, it's like, when he's like, is that the Dave Evader? And I was like, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because, you know, someone says, is that the, you know, is that him? Because he's a complete a-hole. You know, I hate that guy. So, but it was a little ego boost. It's like, yeah, it's me, you know. But then a couple other people were like, oh, we got to promote him to, I guess you get categories when you're, like you go from like knife maker or like a bot to knife maker to custom knife maker to just different levels. And a couple of people were like, oh, we need to promote him to this. And I was like, no. I'm at the starting line here. I know nothing about this. So don't feel just because you guys know what I do on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram that I know this platform, because I'm right here at the starting line. I know nothing. So I'll take beginner. Whatever beginner is, that's what I am on this platform. Jacob Visser, hey, what's going on? Robert Buse, hi from across the pond. Right on. He says you're getting recognized. Love, man. Yeah, man. The hard work is starting to pay off. And believe me, when I talk about all this egotistical and stuff like that, it's oh, how do I put it? I'm not trying to be like boastful, like, yeah, look at me, I'm better than other people. I'm just saying, man, it's like all this hard work it makes me feel proud that, you know, I've actually put all this effort into something and it's starting to show. So when I say egotistical things, they're either completely joking or it's just like, man, I just can't believe how far I've come. Because, you know, knife making, YouTube, all that, I learned knife making from YouTube. I didn't have someone teach me. I had to sit there and figure it out. And that's why I started doing the videos. It's like, man, I figured out how to do this way. So I might as well show people what I know. And man, it's probably been 2 years now I've been doing YouTube videos. And man, they were rough in the beginning. Really rough. Oh man, but yeah. Staying on that line of YouTube though, and kind of bringing back the jig thing, because you know, if people watch this channel, they know how I feel about jigs. You know, they're great. They're a great tool to build your arsenal. But I see so many guys that are using them as their only tool. And it, you know, like Jeremy from Simple Little Life and Outdoor 55, they both do jig work and do freehand grinding. And that's the way it should be. If you're going to use a jig, also learn how to freehand grind. But there's a lot of guys, because man, I try to watch every knife making channel on YouTube. If I see a new one, I'll go over and I'll click subscribe, and so I get notified. Because I've said this before, I don't care if you're on day one of knife making. Well, I learned this in carpentry, but if you're on day one or if you're on 10 years in, people can learn from that. You might do a technique that's like, wow, wonder why he's doing that. And he might not even know why he's doing it, but that's just kind of the way he's figured it out. And it's like, man, maybe I should try that to help this part of going. But I see these guys that, and I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of channels. Well, not a lot. There's a couple of knife making channels that are bigger, and they're really selling their jigs. And it's not even about how to make a knife. It's more about, this is why you should buy my jig, or this is why you should use a jig. And it's funny because I'll make a comment like, well, why don't you do a freehand grind or something? Show a freehand grind. And they always take it the wrong way. Like, like, I'm better than you. You can't freehand grind. So I stopped doing those comments. And, but it's true. And the thing is, if you pay attention to these guys that always use jigs, it's the same grind no matter what knife they make. Doesn't matter the shape. They're like, oh, I got a new design. And it's the exact same grind, just a different shape of knife. And, I've said that before. It's okay if that's what you want. But what happens when you're like, hey, man, I need to try a hollow grind or a compound grind or a full flat grind, or, there's so many grinds, or a Scandi. I mean, most of these jigs are Scandi grinds. So, but it's like, it just doesn't teach you how to be a knife maker. It teaches you how to run a piece of steel through a belt. And I don't know. I just take issue with that. Because if you're going to use a jig, which is great, learning a jig is fine. And I have no problems with it. But also learn how to make a knife if you want to be a knife maker. Now, if you just want it as a hobby and fun, and yeah, jigs are for you. Don't learn anything except how to use a jig. If you just want to be a hobbyist and be like, oh, I'll make every knife with the same grind. I'll have 100 different shapes with one grind on them. But that's fine. A lot of people like that. A lot of people just find relaxation in knife making. And, it's a hobby. They have their day jobs and work and all that. And they come home and they just want something to relax and enjoy making knives. And a jig will make your knife look great. But what happens when you mess up on that jig? You don't know how to fix it. Gravinder, hey, how's it going? Glad to see you back. Sorry, I've been running around, so I'm like out of breath too. But yeah, man, I guess I just want to push the jig thing because a lot of people use them. And that's great, it's fun. They'll make your knife look fun. But also learn how to make a knife, if that's what you want. Like, I keep saying that, but anyway. So yeah, the new Reader grinder is pretty awesome. I gotta admit, I actually broke it in vertical and horizontal. I did 2 hollow grinds on it. I put the 14-inch wheel on and did this grind. So that was fun. But like I said in the beginning, I had to stand up on a 4-inch riser just to get to the 14-inch wheel. But yeah, fun times, fun times. I shot the video for it, and then I put the 6-inch wheel. So, man, it is fun. I found a few things I don't like about it, which are like minor. It's like when it's horizontal, it's hard to switch, bring the belts up and down and stuff like that. And just little things that are annoyances. And I'm sure once I get used to it, because I'm used to my KMG, it'll be perfect. But there was a guy, when I did the video, I had to put his name up. He suggested, I guess it's Osiris Knives. He's like, man, I have 3 grinders and I run it off 1 VFD. Now I see DB Blades, he runs his grinder and his disc grinder off of 1 VFD. So all you need is a 3-pole double throw switch. So you hook the 3 wires to both motors and then the switch between them too. Because I was like, man, I got to spend $400 or $500 on another VFD to run that. Because I want to run it in reverse. But man, hopefully the switch should be coming today, so hopefully I'll have that video shot and all this other stuff. He says, learning full flat grinds as I have a bunch of paring knives. I think that grind will look good on them. I have to learn it. See, I need to learn full flats real well. I do those. Yeah, usually when I do full flats, it's because I mess up. Let's see which one. I think all these knives. Like, I guess you consider that a full flat, but that was it. Didn't start out as a full flat. The bevels just kept getting higher and higher and higher. Oh man, DB Blades, talking about DB Blades, he does an interesting thing. He does his bevels on his 2x72, and then he goes over to the disc grinder and puts in full flats, which is pretty cool. But yeah, man. Whew. So one thing that's funny, did you use it to thin your Damascus? Yeah. No. I went back to my KMG because I noticed I wasn't used to how when I did these hollow grinds. I noticed I wasn't used to the tensioning of switching the belts back and forth, so I didn't want the belt to move over. So, but yeah, I need to get some more coffee because I put this back in a coffee etch, but I only had a little bit of coffee. I left it in there for 10 hours. But yeah, so I do like that black core instead of it's silver. But I don't know if I want to blacken the whole thing out again or not. But yeah. And my friend actually looked at the reason Chip's talking about, he probably saw this on Instagram. Hey, what's up, Don Bond? Hey, how's it going? But I showed my friend the knife, you know. And the funny thing is, before I took it to him, I found like 3 or 4 things. I was like, oh man, I better point this out before he does. Like the handles was too short. On one side, you could feel the lip. So I had to redo that. And then, but the one thing he said, he's like, man, why is your edge so thick? It was like 2 mil thick, you know, which might not seem like a lot, but yeah. So I was like, well, since I got to do the handles again, I might as well redo the bevels and all that stuff. And someone commented on Instagram, they're like, oh, you know, you just did that so you could blacken the whole thing out again. I was like, yeah, pretty much. But no, I had to make it thinner for sure. BC truck rebuild and repurpose. I just learned how to do scroll file work on the spine of a knife. Any suggestions for really good man? I'm not a file guy. From what I understand, the old like Nicholson files are crap now. Hey, what's up, Stalking Wolf? But what I use is diamond files. I think, hold on, I think I just put them here. Where did I put them? Oh, here. I use like small diamond files because they're made for like jewelry and you know, hard stones and stuff like that. And I told Heath to get some, so I don't know how good they work. But like I said, I don't do file work, but it does bring up an interesting topic that I've found myself falling into, and that's challenging myself. I've kind of got into a groove where I'm really comfortable with bevels and handles and stuff. But man, I keep forgetting, it's like, man, you're not only doing these builds and stuff for videos, you know, as a knife maker, I've got to progress too. And file work would be something I would really like to get into, but I always cop out and throw it on the mill. So, but man, some of those like those flower designs in the spine and stuff like that, man, some people do amazing work with that. But yeah, I'm not a big file guy because I skipped all that. You know, I've talked about that before. Oh man, one thing, don't eat enchiladas before a live stream, man. It's like, good Lord. Anyway, you know, I skipped all the file work and making knives with files and stuff. It went right to machines. So yeah, for me, that stuff, man, it's going to take twice as long for me to learn it because, you know, it goes to the jig thing. You know, I need to listen to my own advice. You know, you use jigs, you're not going to know how to do things. I didn't learn how to do file work, so now I'm way behind the curve when it comes to file work and stuff like that. Jacob Visser. Oh, Jacob Visser says he has Nicholson files are really good. He has an old set. But, see, I don't take, if Nicholson files might be good. I'm just going from what I hear other people say. So, you know, I see a lot of guys going to like flea markets, like A-Bomb 79 and stuff like that. He's more of a machinist guy. And all these, you know, machinist guys, they go to flea markets and stuff like that and find these old Nicholson files and stuff like that. And they're usually the guys that are like, don't buy the new ones because, you know, they're junk and they're, you know, made in China and they're mass produced. You got to go and find these old ones. So yeah, if you're ever at a flea market and stuff, look for these old tools that were, you know, handcrafted and made to last. But yeah, when I say something's good or bad when it comes to files and stuff, I'm basically talking out my ass or I'm talking from what other people say. It's not me saying it. Because I don't use files. I got, the only files I use are my dad's old set of files and diamond files. And the only reason I use diamond files is because they work great on hardened steel. So, you know, after you've done all your work on your knives and you're like, oh man, I forgot to do this, you can break out the diamond files and fix your work. So, that's basically why I use diamond files. Chip says he'd like a pack of good small files. Yeah, I've used a couple of them, but not extensively. They seem to work pretty good. Stalking wolf, when they're worn out, I just make a knife out of them. Right on. I see a lot of guys making those file knives. Maybe I'll have to try it one day. Man, whew, it's been a busy week. Man, I've got all these ideas. You know, I still got to get to the Ghetto Forge, and my next project I want to do a Bowie knife, which is kind of wraps into a funny topic because, like I said earlier, I watch a lot of knife makers, YouTube knife makers, and some of the bigger knife makers. Now, it might just be my ego saying this, and I told this to Heath last night. It's like, man, I've seen a couple of these big guys that are using techniques that they didn't use before that are kind of like my techniques. Now, of course, in my head, it's like, they watched my videos and they picked that up from me. You know, or I'll have an idea or something, or say an idea, and all of a sudden they'll put out a similar video, which is probably coincidence and they learned it, but it's like, man, you know, and a lot of people call this like stealing ideas, and I think even Knife Talk Podcast was talking about it, how everyone steals everything from everybody. You know, it's not really stealing, we just all do it, you know. And the problem is, you know, and this is something like Chip was asking about how to drill out something, and I showed him an old Ecom Knives video. And he's like, oh, now I know where you get a lot of your ideas from. It's like, yeah. And I used to say, you know, oh, I learned this from this person. And I used to say it so much that I figured people knew. But it's been so long, so I need to start remembering to give, you know, proper credit from ideas I took. But I also noticed if someone does take something or learn something from me, something I saw that was almost blatantly something I said in a video, they said the other way. They're like, I do it this way, some people do it this way. And it's like, man, he almost has to be talking about me, but, you know, some people don't give credit. And, but, you know, maybe he just forgot or didn't think, or it's just like, wow, I learned a new way. So it's not stealing, it's just like, hey, I figured this out from watching that. So either way, you know, if he didn't learn it from watching my videos, then that's fine. But if he did, that's awesome. Stalking Wolf says, I started out on files making knives before I went to stock removal. Yeah, see, I should have done that too. You know, and that's why I want to do that Ghetto Forge outside. You know, I want to start trying to, well, I don't think I'll ever do videos with files and stuff like that, but like heat treating is like a crucial part of knife making, and most people don't have ovens. In fact, I would say, probably well, guesstimate 80-90% of knife makers don't have ovens. So that's why I want to do that ghetto forge build. But when it comes to stealing ideas, you know, there's guys like Caleb White and Kyle Royer knives. On that bow, you better believe I'm going to be stealing all their... I'm going to watch both those videos. You know, Caleb White hasn't done YouTube in probably 2 or 3 years. But man, he used to do some awesome videos. So, yeah, when I start doing that Bowie knife, I'm definitely going to be... And Kyle Royer, man, that dude's a beast. His knives make me feel like I've only been making knives for about 3 months. He's amazing. Chip says he's fessing up. He learned it all from me. Now, come on. You know there's other guys out there. I know you watch Simple Little Life and a bunch of other stuff, so you didn't learn it all from me. Maybe just the bad habits. Oh, man. But yeah, I need to start challenging myself and maybe try to do some file work and stuff like that because, well, I'm sure the Bowie will be a huge challenge because I don't do hidden tang knives. And, but, you know, a lot of people are like, why don't you do kitchen knives? Why don't you do kitchen knives? And I was talking to the friend that got me into knife making because he has, you know, kitchen knives from like $300 up to the $1,000 kitchen knives. And he said the same thing. I was like, man, people keep asking me to do kitchen knives. And he's like, man, I watch all these guys on YouTube and stuff, and they're all like, look, check out my kitchen knife. And it's like, no, that's a knife that you can use in the kitchen or use to cook with, but that's not, you know, really a kitchen knife. They just make it look like a kitchen knife. And, you know what I'm saying? People see these knives and they're like, oh, I can make that. And they make them, but man, there's so much more to these knives. And I only know this because I listened to him talk about these knives for hours. He's like, check out my new knives. I got it. He traded on some knife for him. It's like, it was an $800 knife, but I got it for $450. And he's like, look at this and this and feel the balance and all. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You might as well be talking Greek because I don't understand anything you're talking about. And that's why I don't do kitchen knives, which I would love to. Shepherd's Forge. Yes, I stick I stick a tube in my forge and heat treat that way. It's insulated direct flame. Yeah, I see a lot of people. I see that JB Keaton knives. He does that too. Puts like a 2x2 piece of steel in there to keep it from, I don't know. I can't finish that sentence because I've never done it. But I guess it's just to keep the heat or maybe the oxygen from, I don't know. It does something, but it seems, I guess it's to keep the concentrated heat off or the fire off the blade or something like that. Or, I don't know. I haven't, you know, I built that forge before I built my oven. And I used to heat treat my knives all like that, but I didn't know what I was doing. Gotta learn somehow. Yeah. Oh man, oh man. So let's go on a kind of weird rant here. So if you guys have been watching me, you know, or listen to my other videos, you know I've been a musician basically my whole life. And so I was talking to, I know what it was. One of the guys I'm friends with on Instagram was talking about how they just went to see the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. And I remember seeing them in like 2001 at Lollapalooza or something. And the lead singer, Dickie, his voice is so raspy and like, you know, he can barely talk, so they crank his mic up. And someone jumped up on stage and he let them sing, and man, it like blew out because his mic was so loud. Because he basically whispers into his mic. And it got me talking to him about Pantera. Because, man, Pantera used to be like my band of bands. You know, it was like Biohazard and Pantera were like my two go-to bands. You know, I've seen them both so many times. But then Pantera came up with that album Far Beyond Driven, and I don't know, they got kind of a little racist and a little bit too big for the britches, singing about to rise beyond Jesus and stuff like that. And I was just like, I don't need to hear that stuff. So I kind of fell off the Pantera train. But it was funny because the first time I saw Pantera, Phil hit like every note, like on Cemetery Gates and stuff like that. Every note, no problem, hit the note, boom, boom, boom. The next time I saw him, a few notes dropped off of that singing. Then, as time progressed, he would just say, whoa, he would scream instead of, hitting those high notes with the guitar, he would go lower. And now he can barely talk at all. But yeah, it's like, man, now what? The guitarist and the drummer, the two brothers, both just, I guess the drummer just passed away last year. But man, so I was watching Phil Osamo because now he does Pantera songs live. And woo, man. His vocals are really bad, Even with the low songs, it's like he stays on key, but he's so graspy. But anyway, I digress. Something about music, or I don't know if it's nostalgia, or it might be regret, but I don't think it's regret. But man, every time I watch shows like that, I just start bawling. And I mean, I can't, I talked about that with that Lady Gaga movie, A Star Is Born. It's like, man, music stuff just gets me. And it's like, and I don't know why. And part of it might be regret because I gave up music, or that whole thing about not playing live anymore and stuff like that. But I think a lot of it is almost like a happy cry, if that makes sense, because 15 years after my guitarist died, I didn't play anything, and then slowly I started playing again and all that. And even though my arm's messed up and I can't hold a pick, all the music in all my videos is me. A lot of people that do videos, they use Epic Sound and all this other music as background music, but I've been writing a lot of music and all this stuff. And I think a lot of the bawling is like overcoming that hurdle. It's like, man, because that 15 years between when I started making knives and when I had my heart surgery and all that, I didn't do anything. And, I worked jobs as a carpenter and stuff like that because I needed money and stuff like that, but I never made anything. And, in my head, my whole life, I was like, man, you're going to be a rock star. You're going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And I just had to take another avenue to find it. So it's like, man, it's like one of those stories where it's like, man, his life just went into the gutter and now he's back out on top. So it's like I've been trying to figure out, analyzing me. It's like every time I watch music, am I bawling because of the past? Or am I bawling because of what the future could be, or what I've come back up? Now, this sounds egotistical, I know. But man, it's like what? Not the hero story. I'm not a hero. I can't think of the word for it. But rising from the ashes or whatever it is. But man, because I'm telling you, man, if you guys would have seen me 4 or 5 years ago, you probably wouldn't even spit on me if I was on fire. I was worthless. I did nothing. And it's just like, man, the last 4 years, like I said, when you face death and don't care about it, man, something just changes everything. But, yeah. Man, it looks like you guys are all having a big old conversation in the chat. Good. You don't have to listen to me ramble. Stalking Wolf. I know they're spendy in the end. It's worth the biggest thing is buying it. Yeah, 2x72 grinder. The two things I would say to save up for is the belt grinder and then a bandsaw. And you can get the bandsaw like Win. In fact, I got links on the Amazon for the Win bandsaw, or Harbor Freight has them and stuff like that. So, bandsaw is definitely... Chip just said Dave has a link to them. Thanks, Chip. But yeah, so bandsaw is definitely a necessity unless you like DB Blades. Man, I've talked about DB Blades a lot in this video, or in this live stream. He still does everything with an angle grinder. So, you know, it's what you're comfortable with. Now, I busted out that angle grinder and cut up that motor mounting bracket for sure. So, it's good to still know how to use these tools and stuff like that. But, man, when you want to be quick and efficient, bandsaw's the way to go, 2x72. But then again, look at Cat's Cradle Forge. He still uses a 1x30 and a disc grinder to make all his stuff. And he makes phenomenal stuff. So, you know, some people take what they got and just rise above everyone else. So, you know, I'm not that person. I gotta admit, you know, I got the mill, I got the lathe, I got 2 grinders now, bandsaw, you know, drill press. So, these things can be done, but not by me. Oh, man. Jacob Visser says, where can you even buy 2x72 grinders in the States? That reader grinder, man, I'll tell you what. That reader grinder, I've been, for 6 to 8 months, I've been telling anyone's like, I want to buy a grinder. I want to buy a grinder. I tell them, buy a reader. Even if you don't have the way to make it horizontal now, you can figure out. Because, man, you buy, like, a lot of guys buy the Origin blade maker. It used to be Oregon blade maker, but now it's Origin, something like that on eBay. But Oregon blade maker, they have the big thing, and you still have to buy the motor and stuff like that. And they're about the same price, maybe like $60, $70 difference. But man, that Oregon blade maker grinder, you can't turn horizontal if you expect, you know, say, okay, you don't have the room for it now. But all of a sudden you start making more money and you can buy, you know, build your shop outside or build a shed outside. And then all of a sudden you have a table. You don't have to buy another horizontal grinder. You got a grinder that does both things. So just because, you know, and that's why, but man, I'll tell you what, for the last 8 months, this reader grinder, every month I put it in the cart and I've almost bought it. But when I was like 30, I had like, man, you know, they just kept giving me credit cards. And I went into like $7,000 or $8,000 debt in credit cards. Because, you know, someone's going to give you money, you're going to take it. You know, you don't know anything about credit or anything like that. So it took like 6 years at like credit counseling things to pay off all these credit cards and stuff. So I swore never to go in debt. And I still, every once in a while, because since I did that, it kind of built my credit back up. But every time a credit card offer comes, I cut it up, throw it away. But man, I'll tell you what, 8 months ago, I'd add it to the cart and be like, man, I could put this on a credit card. I can put this on a credit card. And it's like, nah, take it off a cart. And every month, I'm not even joking here. Every month I put that reader grinder, but I'd also save, you know, 60 to 100 bucks, some, you know, just a little bit of money every month and save up. And I'd take it out of cart and then save that money. And then I'd buy something else so I wouldn't have enough money, but, you know, just a little bit of money. So 8 months, this month I finally could afford to pay it off without going in debt. You know, because even $100 in debt, it's that thing in your brain where you're like, okay, I'll pay it off next month, or I'll pay it off. I got 6 months to pay it off. But that 6 months goes by fast. And, you know, once you buy one thing, then you're like, oh, well, I can just use this card for this. And then, oh, I can just use this card for this. And then that 6 months passed, and then they put the 25% on, and, but, woof, man. Robert Bruce says, what's that? That's, hey, you know, he's in an 8, I can't read. I see he's in an 8x5 chef. Robert, go, I'm talking to the live stream. Robert, go watch Ecom Knives. Put in Ecom Knives. It's Mike spelled backwards. In fact, that's where I want to talk about stealing, but I asked him, because Ecom Knives is Mike backwards. And I did Dave, and, you know, Erving's my last name, so it's E-R. So that's where I got Evader. And I hit him up on Instagram because we talked, and I was like, man, would it be complete, would I be a complete a-hole if I took your idea? And he's like, man, that's an awesome name. You have to use that. He's like, I wish my name backwards was like that. So that's where I got the Evader. But go check out Ecom Knives. He started in a little, like, lawnmower shed. Like the kind you buy at Home Depot. Same thing. And then as he built it up, as he made more knives and sold more knives, he built him a bigger shed. And that's what he's been working out. In fact, his last video, he hasn't put out a video in probably 2 years. He bought a CNC machine, which he moved into his regular shop and moved some of his tools into the little shed. So it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is what you do with it. Like here, my room is, I don't know, probably 10 foot by 12 foot or something in here. But I've got the room out there and stuff like that. But man, after I did that reader grinder, this place was a wreck. There was tools everywhere. The floor was covered with belts and everything else, which I just threw the belts in the other room to make it look clean. But man, when I take out my cameras and all my camera stands and all my light stands, it's like, man, I can actually walk in here. And I got in this bad habit. I put a trash bag on the floor, but instead of opening the trash bag and throwing stuff in it, I just throw, I wipe down my knives and stuff, and I just throw it in that direction. So I had this big pile of trash, and underneath the big pile of trash was this trash bag, and it's like, come on, man. So it's all what you do with it. It doesn't matter the space. And I don't know what other tools you have, but I see a lot of guys. Now, the only problem is with one of those little sheds is security. You put in a $700-800 grinder and someone finds out about it. Like Niels Vandenberg, he doesn't really do videos anymore on YouTube, but he does a lot of Instagram stuff. And he lives in South Africa, man. And some of his Instagram stuff is awesome. He'll be driving into his shop, and there's like 10 giraffes out there eating. And it's like, oh, look at this. And zebras and stuff. So, yeah. If you're on Instagram, go check out Black Dragon Forge, sorry. He's another guy I stole a lot of ideas from. But yeah, so I guess probably a month or two ago, he's building this whole compound. And, so he can have like blacksmithing shops, where people come and make knives, like 10 anvils and all that. And his whole thing, like, if you guys watch Alex Steele, I think back in June, Niels Vandenberg was the guy on his thing, Black Dragon Forge. And they did that awesome stiletto. But so, Niels has like a loft in his thing, and, that's where he does all his, like, really fine work, with Dremel, well, not Dremels, the real Dremels. Like Jeremy from Simple Little Life uses. I can't think of what they're called. Doberman Knives used to call them the devil's toothbrush. But it's got the motor hanging up, and it, basically comes down on a cord. Anyway, I digress. But someone broke into his shop and stole all that stuff. Stole a bunch of welders, a bunch of tools, and it's like, man, nothing I hate more than a thief. I joke around about stealing knife ideas on YouTube, but when someone actually breaks into your place that you've worked your ass off to get these machines and all that stuff, and takes your hard-earned stuff, oh man, I've talked about guns. I don't believe in guns. I mean, I believe in guns. Let me get that wrong. But I don't believe in gun violence. But man, people like that, yeah, if they're caught, they should be, I won't even say it. But yeah, those are people that deserve to have their punishment. Let me say that. Because, man, Niels Vandenberg is like one of the hardest working knife makers out there. If you go watch his channel, watch his old videos, especially his ABS test. He did a test where I don't really know the ins and out of the ABS test, but I know after you do all these, chop tests where you have to chop the boards and all that, and, all the tests you put it through, it's still, you cut rope a bunch of times, and then it still has to be like razor sharp. And then you take the knife and you bend it 90 degrees. You put it in a vise and bend it 90 degrees. He did it 13 times, back and forth. Him and Stuart Smith. Stuart Smith's another good guy to watch on YouTube, if you're into Damascus and stuff like that. But 13 times all the way, 180 degrees before it finally got a crack in it. Now that's a knife maker, So, whew. Robert says, theft is always on his mind. Yeah, man. I tell you what. Scott L says, sounds like his shop. Stalking Wolf, damn thieves. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. Nothing I hate more than a thief. Now, I will say I have friends that go to stores and do petty theft and stuff like that, which, I'm not into that either. Just because, anyway. But, that to me is a little different. Now, if he was going into like someone's, custom shop and stealing, then that's taken from the actual person. But when you get into industry and people that are inflating prices, like you go to Safeway, they already inflate the prices to account for shoplifting and stuff like that. So that's kind of a gray area to me. I don't condone it, but nah. I'll leave that there. I'm not saying go steal from stores and Walmart and all that stuff, but they're robbing you already, so it's kind of an eye for an eye. Oh man. Robert says it's taken me 51 years to gather all my kit. Right on, right on. Yeah. That sounds like me and Chip, starting all this stuff. Man, I have so many. In fact, a lot of my tools are my dad's tools. And then I kind of make them over the years and stuff like that and buy stuff here and there. And a lot of my tools, that's one thing I'll talk about. This reader grinder. I've already figured out like 3 or 4 things that I want to do to make this reader grinder badass. If you guys watch like my KMG, like I put the platen on top and stuff like that, me, I can't have a tool without trying to make it better. It could be the best tool in the world, but I had to make it my tool. Oh man. But yeah, but I will say, back to the stealing, Wilmot Grinders. If you go check out Wilmot Grinders, he hasn't made videos in years. But it's where I got the idea from. Because I noticed when I turned this horizontal, the tool rest doesn't come up to the wheel if I use the 6-inch wheel. So I'm going to have to make some adapters to slide up and move it all around and stuff like that. And then of course I got my magnets and my plates, which I got from Travis Wirtz. See, I steal all my ideas too. It's just been so long since I talked about them. I figure everyone knows that that's where I get my ideas from. So I got to remember to start telling people, oh yeah, I got this from this. Now, see, you can usually tell an idea that I get from another maker, or if I come up with it myself, because the stuff I do from other makers seems like the right thing to do. The stuff I come up with is insane and crazy, and everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? Man, you are doing that wrong. Oh, that's how you know it's my idea. Oh man, I get that all the time. Man, why are you doing it like that? Man, you're gonna mess that up. You're doing it all wrong. Yeah, man, I sure am. Chip says he loves the platen idea on top. Man, I can't believe no one else. Well, I don't know everyone, but man, it seems like such a simple idea. Now, I will say Reader had a thing, a sharpening attachment that you hook on to your platen, and it had a little platform on the back. But I don't think that's where I got it. Maybe I forgot, but I don't think so. But they've made a whole new attachment that goes on the tool arm now. Because I don't think I saw, because, once I got my Reader grinder, I went back and watched all their videos. And I was like, oh, that sharpening attachment used to hook onto the platen. I was like, is that where I got the idea from? And I was like, nah, I hope not. Well, I hope I'm not taking credit for something that I saw, but I don't think so. I'll be honest with you if I did, because it's a great idea. But theirs was like a clamp that clamped on, and then it came out to the sharpening thing, and the sharpening thing was like level with the top wheel. Now, like I say, it's on the tool rest. Man, I'll tell you one thing, and I don't want to say this bad because, have you tried with the glass on the platen? Glass on the top part platen? Nah, I don't, because I don't use the top platen that much. I move it up, I put it on a sliding thing so I could take it out of the way and only use it when I'm sharpening or doing something on top. But one thing I noticed about Reader, and everyone's, what they sell is quality products, and what they make, their grinder is worth the money. But I see a lot of their things where it's like, like the levers to tighten and stuff like that, they're selling for like $36, and I bought the levers for $5 on Amazon. So, I understand making a profit or even doubling it. Say you buy them for $5 in bulk and selling them for even $20 or $15. But man, $36 for something I can buy on Amazon for $5, and like that knife sharpening tool arm, it's like, man, I want that, but man, $150. I don't want it that bad. But man, their grinders are worth it. It's like, man, I guess they started making a new grinder too. So now the thing is, it's $700, but that's only for the frame. And you can buy the kits, and I told this to Heath, both of my motors, in fact, all three of my motors, my disc grinder motor, I bought on eBay, the cheap Chinese motors. Now, some of them have problems and all that, but they usually have good warranties. But a motor usually is a motor. Now, you can spend $200 on a Chinese eBay motor, or you can spend $500-600 on a leasing motor. And a lot of people are into U.S. made stuff, which I appreciate. But a motor's a motor. I could buy 3 of these motors for a leasing, so, but it's all about your thing, what you believe in, and, do you want to buy American made? I try to buy American made, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense to, when it's basically the same thing. I haven't had a problem with any of my motors in 3 or 4 years, so, Scott L., what's the link for the levers for the Reader? I just put, I'd have to go get it. It's basically just adjustable levers. If you comment on one of my other videos or comment later on this video, I'll go get you the link for it. But, it's every size. You can, and that's the thing. In fact, I ordered 2 more for the tool arms. I ordered the 2, to pull the tool arms in and out, and I also ordered 2, for the tool arms. But yeah, man, if you guys were here at the beginning, man, I can't wait to try this where I use 1 VFD for 2 grinders. All it is a switch, so I hope it works. I know it works for DB blades and all that, but man, that would be, saving me $500 and not having to buy another VFD. The biggest problem, I think, will be trying to figure out where to put the VFD so it's not inconvenience for either grinder. Because right now where it is, it's right next to the KMG. So I'd have to walk a whole 3 feet to turn it on and to adjust it. Oh man, talk about first world problems. Damn it, I gotta walk 4 feet just to turn and adjust my VFD. Man, I'm gonna spend $500 so I don't have to take 4 steps. Man, come on. Can't you sympathize with me? Oh, man. Whew, man, it's almost 4 o'clock. Oh, man. All right, Chip. Go cut the grass because I'm cutting it here. I've been rambling and laughing and goofing off. I thought this was going to be, like I said, I only had 2 subjects at the beginning, but I'm so full of hot air, I know how to talk. But, man, you know, one thing, I got to thank you guys for showing up every week, you know. I don't know if I do it enough, but, man, some of you guys are here at the beginning, and you come every week. So, man, that really means a lot to me, and I don't know if I express that enough, that every week you show up to shoot the shit with me and goof around and ask questions and comment and all that. So, man, it means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. So, you know, give yourself a clap because, man, you all make this live stream work. So, anyway, I think that's about it. I'm going to call it here. I got Amazon links down below. And, yeah, anytime you want to buy something on Amazon, check with me first and I'll give you a link. And it won't cost you any more, but it'll help, you know, support the channel. You know, it might be a little extra step, but if you remember, I'd appreciate it. And, you know, I got shirts on my website. The website link is the first link down below. I have to check on, I think I have to change my live stream thing, but anyway, yeah. I got 4 knives up for sale. Hopefully I'll have 5 or 6 knives if I ever finish these and all that stuff. But yeah, shirts on there, knives on there, Amazon links, and all that's in the description. Hope you all are doing well. Let's have a great week. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, take it easy.